Now tell me, George, what is an example of a literary genre in the Bible?
Oh, well, thank you for introducing me. As you stated earlier, there are many genres of the Bible, far too many to discuss this evening.
Alright.
Well, the first one I have decided to discuss today is the genre of poetry. Now, while it may not seem so, there are countless examples of poetry in the Bible.
And can you tell me a few examples?
Of course. Well, there's Job to start. His accounts were full of alliteration, only in Hebrew, sadly, as those kinds of things don't translate too well.
Interesting.
Another example would have to be the Song of Deborah from Judges 5. It is an artwork in and of itself, and it really is a beautiful example of poetry in the Bible.
Thank you very much. I've heard a genre called letters. Can you tell me something about that?
Ah, yes. Well, letters, or sometimes called epistles, are a predominant genre in the Bible.
Oh yeah?
Yes, there are 21 epistles in the New Testament, 13 of them coming from St. Paul. He wrote letters to the Galatians, Colossians, Ephesians, among others. They are truly something.
Can you give us an example of one?
Well, there are so many great epistles that it is really hard to choose one. I'll just choose one of my favorite verses. That would have to be Ephesians 1:7. In him we were also chosen, destined in accord with the purpose of the one who accomplishes all things according to the intention of his will.
Oh, that's great. I really love how it hits the mark, telling us about how we were all chosen by God.
Thank you. I find it rather pleasing as well.
Alright, George, I know we've gone into depth on some genres, but there's still a few more to cover. Can you describe the historical genre?
Why, of course. The term historical is rather self-explanatory. It tells a history. It has a tale to tell about things in our lives. A well-known example of this would be Genesis, as it tells the history of the world, how God formed it and whatnot.
I don't know where we are. Oh, that's good to know. Thank you. Next, can you tell me what exactly is a parable?
Thank you for asking. It is quite possibly my favorite genre of the Bible. Parables are stories that have a lesson in them. They are trying to teach you about... What are you doing? Asking me about parables. It is quite positively my favorite genre of the Bible. Parables are stories that have a lesson in them. They are trying to teach you about something. My favorite example of a parable would have to be the story of the Good Samaritan. In this story, there is a Jewish man who is beaten and left for dead on the side of a road. Many people pass by him, not even offering the slightest bit of help. After quite a while, a Samaritan passes by, and against their ancient feud, the Samaritan helps the Jewish man and nurses him back to health.
Don't slit your throat. Wow.
This parable teaches us about loving our neighbor and caring about them, even if it is against the better will of the world.
And that the segment is running a tad little longer than usual, but I'd like to squeeze in one more genre of the Bible. Is that alright with you?
Of course, I love talking about this stuff. It's my passion after all.
Right, thank you so much for understanding. The last genre of the Bible that I would like to discuss with you is Psalms. What are him?